I need everybody wrapping up your quiz. Let's get those turned in. And everybody else, let's get those notes out and let's take a look at this triangle. This is 5.6 number 1A. We already did it yesterday, but I don't know if we got it all the way done. And we're going to go through that conversation again. Okay? So, this is in our notes. First problem in 5.6. We already started it yesterday. Maybe we're done. Remember, we're going to do it again. Who can tell me why this is not going to be like the quiz just was, a law of signs? Because there's no set. When you do not have a set, I do not have this set, I do not have this set, I do not have this set. When you do not have a set, then you're not going to use the law of signs, you're going to have to use the law of cosines. Okay? The way the law of cosines works, on one end goes the cosine of the angle. It is called the law of cosines. So cosine 58. On the other end, over here, all by itself, is the side squared that goes with that angle. So that's angle B, so this is going to be P squared. So my angle is 58, it's on that end. The side that goes with that angle is on this end. And then in the middle, we have 10 squared plus 13 squared minus 2 times 10 times 13. It always looks like that. So it's side squared plus side squared minus 2 times side side. That's how the law of cosines looks. Now, I'm going to type that in on my calculator, and I'm just going to type it in. So 10 squared, using my squared button, plus 13 squared, minus 2 times 10 times 13 times cosine 58. Check. Make sure you're Alright, and I got 131, just like I did yesterday. But what were we talking about? Just at the very end of class, we said you can't use the 131. You got to square root it. You have to square root that number. So you're going to square root that number. And I got 11.46. So I'm going to take the square root of that number. Now, we're not done. We got to find that side P, so I got that. And now I need to find my angles. But look at what you have now. What do you have now? Now you have it there, so now we can use our law of sines. Whenever you have that relationship, you can use your law of sines. So sine 58 over 11.46 equals sine R over 10 or sine Q over 13. It doesn't matter. You have to do one of them. Only one of them. You get one. Then what do we do? What you do on your quiz, hopefully? Well, first we have to cross multiply. So 11.46 sine R equals 10 sine 58. And then we will divide by 11.46. And then, because I'm looking for an angle, I need to second these two angles already. So I don't have to do any more of this stuff. I can just subtract those from 180. And I got 74.27. Anybody have a question about that? Yesterday, someone asked, right, maybe on the way out of the room or whatever, about checking for a second triangle, because if you think about the quiz you took, you had to do something like this on your calculator, but then you had to see if there was another answer. I'm not going to set you up that way. There will only be one answer unless the directions are how many triangles are possible. Then you'll check it. Otherwise, you don't need to worry about that. Okay? In reality, you do need to worry about that. But I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. So, unless it says how many triangles are possible, you're just going to have one answer every time. Alright? Alright, let's look at letter C. We're going to come back and do B, but B is a little bit different. So I want to do C first because it is exactly like what we just did. So it's another chance to practice our law of cosines. Here we go. Solve this triangle, and you'll have to figure out whether you're going to use the law of sines or cosines. How do you tell? Do we have a pair or not? Right? So look at this. Do we have any pairs? Nope. If you don't have any pairs, then you're going to use the law of cosines. Out on one end of the law of cosines is cosine 104. On the other end, clear at the other end, over here all by itself, is e squared. And then in the middle is going to go what? Can anybody remember? What's going to go in the middle? 12 squared. Plus 16 squared minus 2 times 12 times 16. I told you to get the hang of it. It is easy. It is easy. So then I just type that in. And this is where the biggest mistake happens. When you get that all typed in and you get equals, you gotta remember to do what? Square root that. Not square it, you need to square root it. And I got 22.20. But you're not done because look, you got all this stuff to find. So now you look at your problem and what you notice now when you look at your picture. Now you've got your pair right there. So now we can say sine 104 over 22.20 equals sine, just pick one, f over 12. You could do p over 16, doesn't matter, just pick one. You're ready, okay? Here, so let's cross multiply. We'll divide by 22.20. We could do all this again for angle B, but we don't need to because we already know these guys. So we'll just subtract 180. 34%. How does that sound? Spectacular. All right. Well, what's a little different about question B? No angles. No angles. Now, if we don't have any angles, we don't have any pairs, right? There's no pairs, so we aren't going to use law of sines. We're somehow going to have to figure out how to use the law of cosines on this problem. Okay? It doesn't really matter, but I'm a creature of habit, so when I have a problem like this, I always just find the biggest angle first. What was this for? How do you know which is the biggest angle? Can you tell which would be the biggest angle? Angle B? Why is angle B the biggest angle? Because it has the biggest side, right? Now, could you find angle A? Yes. Could you find angle C? Yes. You have to pick one to find. I just always find the biggest one. So I'm going to find angle B. It will look at, you'll do basically the same thing if you find the smallest angle or the medium size angle. It doesn't matter. I'm going to find angle B. Now, I know I can do law of sines, so I'm using the law of cosines. And my angle is B. So remember, in the law of cosines, your angle goes on one end, cosine B. That means on the other end is B's side, which is 14. So I have 14 squared here because 14 is what goes with B. If you were going to find side or angle A, then you'd have cosine A, and then over here you would have 12 squared. You see that? All right, then what goes in the middle? 10 squared plus 12 squared minus 2 times 10 times 12. That minus 2 is part of the formula. So 14 is the side that's over here by itself. So then all the rest of that middle stuff is 10s and 12s. 10 squared plus 12 squared minus 2, 10, 12. This is harder to type in. All right? The other couple we did, we just typed in the whole thing and it was great, but that's because your variable is here. Now your variable is buried at the end of the problem. So here's how I want you to do this. I want you, at least until you get used to it. Therefore, we can mark the performance somewhere. Oh, it's right over here. Yes, there. You see it? Thank you. Okay. So here's what I want you to do, at least until you get used to it. I want you to go ahead and evaluate that number. So 14 squared. Maybe you know what it is already. 10 squared. So we're squaring these out. And then we're going to multiply all these together. So negative 2 times 10 times 12. I think that's 240. So I haven't done anything except just do my arithmetic. Are you all right with that? Okay. Now, could these two right here be added together? Yes. Don't subtract that one though, because that one is hooked to a cosine. Okay, it's like having an X there. These two can be added. So 196 equals 244 minus 240 cosine B. Do not subtract these, you guys. Please pay attention. This is like having this. That's not a like term. You wouldn't subtract those. Don't subtract. What can I do that I have to solve? What could I do with that? Subtract the 244 to the other side. Alright, so 196 minus 244. So I got negative 48 equals negative 240 cosine B. Alright, and then what? Divide. So I'm going to have 48 over 240 equals cosine B. I'm dividing by negative 240. The negatives cancel. So I have 48 over 240 equals cosine B. Wait a minute. I'm trying to find an angle, right? So what do I type in? I'm trying to find an angle. Inverse. So B will be inverse cosine 48 over 240. So second cosine 48 divided by 240. Did you get 78.46? Yeah? No?
That's what I got.
Now, life is full of choices. Could you repeat the process for angle A? Set this equation up for angle A. You could. That's an option. What's another option? You can now use the law of sine. It doesn't matter which way you do the problem. If you love the law of cosine, I love the law of cosine. I might do it with the law of cosine. If you are not so enamored with that, you will set up your law signs and say sine 78.46 over 14 equals sine A over 12. Is that all right? Okay, go ahead. Cross multiply, divide, inverse sine, and tell me what you get. base times height is what I was hoping, I don't know what pops into your head, but 1/2 base times height, right? You learn that in geometry. The problem, that formula will work all the time, it's true, you can use it. The problem is, most of the time, when we have triangles given to us, we do not know the height. This would be the height right here, called the altitude. And usually, if you just look at the triangles on this page, that's not given to us. So if we were going to do 1/2 base times height, we would have to step aside and figure out how to find the height. Well, luckily for us, there are about, I don't know how many ways, 7, 8, 9, 10 ways to find the area of a triangle. And most of them are very, very easy. So, I'm going to show you how to find the area of a triangle if you happen to know all 3 sides. Alright? Here's how we do it. The area of this triangle is a big radical. There are 4 things under the radical. This is so easy. You're not going to believe how easy this is. So, if you know all 3 sides, first thing you're going to figure out is what we call S, or the semi-perimeter. Anybody have any idea what we mean by semi-perimeter? What's a semicircle? Half a circle. Semi-perimeter is half the perimeter. Half the perimeter. So what's the perimeter here? Let's add it up. 38. So if the perimeter is 38, the semi-perimeter is 19. And that's the first number that goes under your radical. Remember I told you there were 4 numbers under the radical. The first one is the semi-perimeter. The other 3 are the semi-perimeter minus each side. So I'll call the sides A, B, and C. So this one is going to be 19 minus 12, 19 minus 16, and 19 minus 10. Now those can be in any order. Any order, don't worry about it. 4 numbers under the radical. The first one is half the perimeter. The second, third, and fourth are half the perimeter minus each side. So I have 19 times 7 times 3 times 9. 19 minus 12, 19 minus 16, 19 minus 10. And then I just type that in on my calculator. And the area of this triangle is 59.92. Okay, type that in, make sure that's what you get. This formula is called Hero's formula. The guy's name was actually Aaron of Alexandria, but it's abbreviated to Hero's formula. And it says that the area of a triangle is S, S minus A, S minus B, S minus C. We only use Hero's formula if we know all the sides. Because if you don't know all the sides, you're not going to be able to find the perimeter, right? So we're not going to do Hero for every problem. But if we have all 3 sides, it is the fastest, easiest way to find the area. problems on the page that would be a hero's formula type problem. D. All right, so let's do D. There's 11, 17, 15. All right, so area is going to be a big radical. We're going to have 4 numbers underneath it. This is letter D, problem D. If we're doing heroes formula, then the first thing we have to do is find our perimeter. Okay, so what's our perimeter? Yeah, I believe it's 38, that's 43, goes to 43. Okay, not 43. Remember, this is half the perimeter. So 43 to half of that is what? 21.5. Don't be alarmed, you have a calculator, so don't worry. Fraction, decimal, that's okay. And then what goes in the other parentheses? Not 11, 15, and 17. Those numbers don't go in there. What goes in there? 21.5 minus each of these. So 21.5 minus 11, 21.5 minus 17, and 21.5 minus 15. All right, so this is going to be 10.5, 4.5, 6. All right, that's what I'm going to get in my calculator. I got 81.26, did you? All right, so on your reference sheet, feel free to add heroes formula and any notes that you need to remind you, what does S stand for? S is the semi-perimeter and S is half the perimeter. Add that to your reference sheet. Heroes formula. When do we use heroes formula? When we are finding area, it is an area formula, we're finding area, and we know all 3 sides. We're not using heroes formula on the quiz questions you just did, because those were not area, those said solve it. Find sides, find the angles. That's all sides, those sides. Okay?
How do you get 21.5 again?
Half of 43. The perimeter's 43.
Is that adding it over?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, problem B is not a hero problem, but we still need to find the area. So let's look at problem B. And we want to find the area. If you thought Hero's formula was easy, hold on to your hats. This is insanely simple. The area of that triangle is 1/2 10 times 12 times sine 58. I don't have to do any work. I don't have to do anything except write it down and type it in. 1/2 10 times 12 times sine 58. Look at the triangle, guys. Do you see how you have 2 sides and the angle in between them? 2 sides and the angle in between them? The formula says the area will be 1/2 side times side times sine of included angle. And by included angle, we mean the angle in between them. So 1/2 side, side, sine. And that's your answer. Nothing else to do. I got 50.88 for my area. So if you want to write this one down, you absolutely can. No. Okay. All right, would you look at problem C? I have to find the area. I do not have all three sides, so I will not be doing 0. What do I need for the other one? I need 2 sides and the angle in between. Do I have it? Yes, I have 2 sides and the angle in between them. So the area will simply be 1/2, don't forget that, 1/2, 16 times 15 times sine 84. 1/2, 16 times 15 times sine 84. The angle, if you're going to do this right here, the angle has to be between the 2 sides. Okay, it wouldn't work if the 84 were down here. It wouldn't work. Okay, so that's it, folks. 1/2 times 16, 119.34. Is that what you came up with? Beautiful. All right, one more problem on the page. Here we go. Do I have all 3 sides? All right, so we're not doing 0. To do the other thing, don't I need 2 sides and the angle in between? Do I have that? Any thoughts on what I'm gonna have to do? Find the side. I gotta find the side. Okay. And to help me find the side, when I will find this angle, what would that angle be? You're exactly right. Now, do you look right here? What do I see right here? Why does that make my heart sing? Law of sines. So look, watch this, guys. Sine 69 over 16 equals sine 49 over b. I could also have done sine 62 over a, it wouldn't matter. Am I going to find angle B here? Am I going to be able to find angle B? Side B, I mean side B. And once I know side B, I'm going to figure out what that number is. Then can I find the area? 1/2, 16 times this, times sine 62. So I didn't have what I needed to the area, so I'm going to find what I need. I'm going to find that side. All right? So here we go. Let's quickly cross multiply. And find side B. at 12.93, but I'm gonna wait for confirmation from one of you. Is that right? Now remember, I'm trying to find the area. Now I can. Now I can, kids, because I have this side, and angle 62. So the area will be 1/2 16 times 12.93 times sine 62. Make sure if you're using this side and this side, you must be using this angle. You have to use the angle that's between your sides. So what do we get for the area? 91.33. Okay. Next class, we will do a practice quiz to go on cosine. And then the class after that, we'll have a law cosine quiz. Probably in the next class, we will finish this unit and start our practice test.